Alright, I'm gonna do it like this. What's up, y'all? Just so you know, I'm here. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. In the Image Clothing Company, our 5-word company name. This is a video under our main side, one of the 4 sides to us. A very different video than most of our videos. The point of this is I want to just kind of document this and show this. Forewarning, my toe is in pretty rough shape. Okay, I've got a bad ingrown toenail that's healing. Yeah, but I want to talk about this. This is just about the documentation of what's going on, really, and there's some teaching opportunity here as well. So, allowing the body to work, right? In the Image Clothing Company slogan here under our main side. We're only a clothing company because clothing is the only thing physically placed on the human being. Clothing has to stay centered, fit correct, and be made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. The body being designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. We're a clothing company, just because allowing the body to work is our slogan. Clothing's just got to be placed on the body properly. We've got things like shoelaces and drawstrings, though, that are just ropes. That's one of the many imbalances in clothing, but my foot's struggling big time. I don't want to gross people out more than I need to get the point across for the sake of the documentation. I wonder if you can tell the difference in my toe sizes, though. From my right big toe to my left big toe, my right big toe is quite a bit bigger. And, you know, a big point with this is the actual bone, okay? It's not just swollen because of my ingrown toenail here and my right big toe. That's actual bone. It's that much thicker and wider. Like, I could squish in all the... Yeah, again, this might gross a lot of people out, this video, but it's just for the sake of the documentation. I could, you know, squeeze the actual flesh of the toe and get down to the bone, and, well, that's how wide the bone is. Versus my left toe's bone here at the big toe on my left foot. Yeah, my right big toe. And the whole, you know, the bones coming up through the foot into the ankle joint, and then really all the musculature along the tibia and the fibula and the lower leg just gets really adhered to the bone when the feet aren't allowed to work, you know. I've talked about how I was tying my shoes with both shoes tied to the right from somewhere around age 4 to about age 24, around 3 years ago as of now. It's the 24th of August 2026 today. 27 years old, the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong. You know, we've talked about the feet a lot. I've talked about patterning in the feet that gets created, but this is at least 2 years at this point of getting out of chronic patterning. For me personally, that's really what we do here under In the Image Clothing Company, is get out of patterning that gets created in the body, trying to work around things like oversized clothing. I mentioned shoelaces and drawstrings. We can just tie ropes on the body to twist the entire body. We've got rotated seams with robots stitching our clothing in modern day, collar seams, pocket zippers, buttons, anything discrepant or different in clothing. Around the collar of a top that needs to stay centered and snug, with even opposing musculature from the center line of the neck. Meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull, you know, all sorts of things. We get into it in depth. I just want to make sure I give a little bit of understanding in this video of who we are and what we're doing here, in case you don't know before this video. You know, In the Image Clothing Company. So my toe's having a hard time, and I've got an ingrown toenail, but that's just part of it. The big thing is all the misalignment that's been in my feet for years. What it's done is created, as we talk about, you know, bone spurs. Well, that's what this is, essentially, is a bone spur, where the muscles that connect to the bones, you know, they do that through tendons or insertions. Muscles insert to bones, and they grab onto the bone on one end and the other end and pull. Muscles only pull. We've always got even opposing musculature, 2 sides to a neutral position in the entire body, right? There's truly only one way the human body could ever work in the Image Clothing Company. The whole body resides in a neutral position, okay? Everything in the body has its own neutral position. Everything in the body has its own individual role to play. It's got to play its own function and pull its own weight, because That's how it all works together, as a kinetic chain, all connected. Bones to bones through ligaments, and then that direct connection has muscles connecting two bones through tendons, and then we pull at the musculature level, right? An electrical system sent from the brain. The muscles just pull only. There's just opposing muscles, even in what seems like a push, though it's just pulling muscles to extend a hinged joint, right? Like this, for example. Plantar flexion, pointing the foot away from us, the lever of the foot off the hinge of the ankle, comes from pulling muscles on the rear of the lower leg, okay? There's always opposing muscles, there's always a neutral. Like the horizontal surface of the earth, or the term zero drop, just being flat. In any brand of shoe, you have to start flat before you could go up or go down, okay? So my toe's having a hard time, like I'm saying. If you can tell, my right big toe is, I don't know how much larger, but quite a lot larger, wider, thicker, bigger at the actual bone structure than my left big toe. Okay, started tying my shoes evenly, right? The right side, you tie the outside lace over the inside lace on the right foot. On the left side, you tie the outside lace over the inside lace on the left foot. Essentially a right-handed knot on the left foot and a left-handed knot on the right foot. The center line of the body, two sides to the body. Earth's vertical gravity pull meshes with the center line of the body. And we've got 2 feet evenly opposing the center line of the body. What they do is they grip like this. They grip the ground. Okay, they grip arches. They grip the ground, and an arch structure gets created. Okay, feet work just about the exact same as the hands. The neutral is straightforward from that pinky toe. Then there's internal rotation or external rotation from there. We roll evenly off the ends of different length 5 toes within this universal human design to share the weight of the body. Okay, just the shape and length of the bones is the only thing that the human being could ever possibly do. But, you know, when I say allowing the body to work, that doesn't mean that your body should just always, only, and ever be free of pain. I've been going through immense pain in a lot of my body, in my jaw, in my foot, here at the right foot specific, in my right lower leg, you know, just throughout my body in a lot of areas, though. Throughout the past couple of years, I've experienced a lot of pain. If we never altered the body, it would just work. Designed by God to work, the human being is just a mechanical machine. Measurable mathematical degrees of hinges, levers, and rotations, determined by the shape and length of our bones. They grow by themselves in this universal human design. Body just works unless or until altered. If you've got a fairly normal body, hear me correct on that, right? You can only be different from something, which is fine if you're different, but there truly is a universal human design. We have to get as close as we can to in our own individualistic physical functioning because of universal laws outside of all of us. Just physics, gravity's vertical pull, okay? Things like this. Truth that doesn't ever change. We don't get to decide or change truth as human beings. But what happens is our bodies really get changed from the only way they actually could ever possibly work, the way they grow by themselves. Okay. So yeah, my toe hurts, and it's hurt ridiculously much so for a long time now, meaning it's been months at least, but it's been years really as well in the ways that it has. There's a lot of context I could give with that, and I do, I will, if and where, under In The Image Clothing Company's 5-word company name. Getting out of chronic patterning, though, here's some chronic patterning that you can see firsthand from the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong. You know, the muscles pull on the bones, and if the bones aren't allowed to just track in line, but you've got like a rope twisting your body, wow, right? Your bones won't track in line. You're trying to walk forward and your ankle's pointing outward, let's say. You know, your foot lever off the hinge of your ankle is pointing to the side, and you're trying to walk forward. Just straight out the ends of the toe bones is how we walk. They point straight forward the direction we're going, but we've got different length 5 toes, okay? We roll evenly off the ends of We make this clear under In the Image Clothing Company, but I wasn't doing this for about 20 years, give or take. Things up at the shoulders can change this, and things, you know, at the hips, like a drawstring knot, a rope around the waist can change how this happens, or anything throughout the body. Rotated seams in clothing placed onto the body will rotate the body when the body's got its own rotations within the clothing. The literal word of clothing is what we discuss under In the Image Clothing Company here, right? Hats, gloves, pants, shoes, socks, tops, undergarments, jewelry, glasses, anything at all. Something placed over the shoulder like a bag. You're literally clothing your body. Well, this is the thing. For example, one of our many hundreds, you know, coming up on right around 1,000 videos under In the Image Clothing Company's main site as of today's date, the 24th of August, 2026, is titled, yeah, just one of them, right? The adductors and the big toes. So the big toes are on the inside of the feet. They're the longest of the 5 toes. The feet point up and in toward the center line of the body like an arrow, okay, in this universal human design. It's only what it is. The bones grow by themselves. The whole body does. In the image of Jesus Christ, God does it for us. Nothing happens unless it does, and the body just becomes this very complex thing that just works. We don't even know what's happening until we know what's happening. Really, until after it's happened. At least part of the way. What is that bug? Anyway, so the feet grip arches inward. The feet oppose each other's grip. So one foot's on one side of the body, the other foot's on the other side of the body, and they grip the ground. I mean, you can see it happening here. My toes grip the ground like my hands gripping the ground. And then those pinky toes are straight forward, neutral, and then the toes just point straight forward. And we roll evenly off the ends of all 5 different length toes. I'll try to not show you my pretty gory looking toe more than I need to in this video, to just get the documentation here. I wasn't planning to document this, but I might as well while I'm doing what I'm doing. And so the body's always only ever just what it is, but it gets so altered. Wow, screaming happened over there. Okay. Darn it, man. People are crazy. Holy cow. Yeah, so a lot of pain. The thing is, the feet grip inward, and the big toes press against the inside of the shoe, if we're wearing shoes. But the big toes come in. When the feet grip arches, it's just the shape and length of the toes. They pull in and back just because we have different length toes. And so when the musculature connecting from the toes up into the foot and up through the ankle joint and up the lower legs to the knee, okay? When we grip those toes to the ground, we've just got different lengths to the toes, and so they just pull in and back just because that's the angle of the different length 5 toes, like this. And there is that arch structure, and now we just point forward, straight out the toe bones, and walk. Okay, that pinky toe is straight forward. So the big toe pulls in, but there's also inner leg muscles called adductors, the leg pulling in, okay? And so as we grip the ground, the muscles on the inner leg and then the big toe both come inward or activate together at the same time. Okay, my point is the big toe for this video. And when we grip an arch in the foot, it pulls that big toe. Like, look at where my hand's at here. If I just grip the ground naturally with my foot, my big toe will come in toward my hand, like toward the center line of my body, right? I grip the ground with my foot. See how my big toe comes inward? Okay. Different length 5 toes, we just grip in and back because of the length and shape of the toes. That's just the angle they pull on. And they grip the ground just like the hands, really. And our feet are working unaltered, okay? There's only one way the human body could ever possibly physically, mechanically operate. There's only one way the human body could ever work, truly. Okay, that's why we get out of chronic patterning. But as you can see, my right big toe is much larger at the actual physical bone structure than my left big toe on my feet. On the 24th of August, 2026, today's date, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. So yeah, whatever this video is titled, and normally I say the video is titled right there, but this is a heavy video for me. You know, like a big video is what I mean, an impactful one personally, because I've been going through so much pain. It's been ridiculous. I was homeless with my dog Dante from the end of April until the middle of June this year, 2026. Walking so much. I also just walk, you know, often around 10 plus miles a day, sometimes tens of miles a day. I just love to walk, but I've been going through this, you know, even before this ingrown toenail symptom of the problem of just the bones being misshapen and the muscles connecting to the bones and pulling on them unnaturally because of things like uneven shoelacing and tying. For about 20 years of my life, until just a few years ago, my toe still looks like this. My feet are still this different from right to left after 2 years of tying shoes correct, you know, and working on my body, breaking up things like this, the bone spurs, where the muscles connecting to the bone pull on the bone through the tendon where they connect to them. That's how the body just moves. But when they're not allowed to just pull in line, and you've got things like a rope around your ankle twisting how it works, things just get pulled on unnaturally, and the bones grow unnaturally shaped, and the tendon connecting to the bone grows unnaturally shaped just over time. This is patterning. It's a pattern, day after day after day, chronic patterning. This is an example of a bone spur. And again, I'm not trying to show you my pretty gross looking toe more than I need to, but to get the visual there of how actually physically wide and misshapen my toe is. That's bone all the way out to the edge. That's not inflammation or swelling. That's my bone of my toe. It's so much wider on my right foot than on my left, okay? Like by a lot. And again, this is 2 years after, and more than 2 years really, but at least 2 years after all the work that I've personally done in my own body as the founder, the leader for life of In The Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong. This is what we do. We're only a clothing company to do what our slogan is, which is allowing the body to work. And this is after 2 years of trying to do all that I can to get out of patterning. And my toes just off to the side. You know, the toes just point straight forward, the direction we're going, out the bones. But in shoes, sometimes we've got these small little narrow shoe toe boxes. The toes get misshapen. And then also, you know, tying a knot and twisting the foot to one side, it's just pressing against the inside of the shoe and just misshapening, if we can word it like that. And we can, because I just did. But yeah, the toe, man, you know, like the actual bone, again, I don't want to show like more of my grossness to my toe than I need to, but the actual bone of my toe, where it you know, well, all the bones in the toe and then where it comes up and meets into the foot, it's just so much wider on my right side than my left. And again, that's not inflammation, that's actual bone width and thickness. So I mean, we can show it like this too, just the thickness of my foot right here where the big toe meets into the forefoot, you know, that's so thick. Again, it's bone from the bottom to the top, excessively enlarged, misshapen bone. So it's no joke here what we're doing under In The Image Clothing Company, and you know, good things take time. And I am still here, by the way. I know my head's up out of the frame, but I am still here. Me, Evan Strong, brother. And so this is why I speak so harsh, okay? Under In The Image Clothing Company, I'm just kind of pressing the inside of my foot here against the ground right now. Just getting some pressure against that bone to try to break up some of the, you know, excessively adhered, if you will, tendon to the bone on the inside of the foot there, and then the bone mass itself, because we've got muscles and tendons that come down through the leg. I mean, you can see these, see, not very well on my right foot. I can show it better on my left foot, but see the tendons that come down through the foot, you know, from the leg up here to move the foot. Well, there's this extensor hallucis longus that's right on the very front of the ankle joint, right where our shoelace knot sits. Comes down to the big toe from up here at the outer part of the fibula, the outer lower leg bone. You know, there's a tibia and fibula that have rotations in the lower legs, like the radius and ulna in the forearm. There's a muscle that comes down, and you can see it coming through right here, right? See what I mean? That coming down and through the foot, and then just, you know, there's tendons coming down and connecting to bones, and we're pulling where these things insert on one end and they insert on the other end, and they pull, okay? The tendons in the feet. This is how the body works. Is muscles connect to bones through tendons, and then the muscles pull on the bones, and that's how the body moves its skeletal frame, or the bone structure, is the muscles pull it around to move the body, to propel us off the ground with the feet, for example. Yikes. It's such an emotional thing for me, man. The amount of physical pain that comes along with this, you know, the fact that I'm going to be doing this as my lifelong career. Like, I'm here for life. That's why I say it. The founder, but the leader for life of In The Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, this guy. I make it so clear because we're only about 2 years into this, you know, just the founding of In The Image Clothing Company. When I say founding, I just mean since the founding. It's been 2 years, but I'll be doing this the rest of my entire life, and this is permanence. You break up this kind of deep patterning, and your body's good for the rest of your life, you know, once you're intentional. You stop tying shoes unevenly and start tying them evenly, and as long as you're intentional, your body's good for the rest of your life. You know, In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, we discuss as being just the only way the top of the feet are shaped. That's what I'm saying. There's just a very specific shape to the top of the feet, you know? So we need to weave a rope across there in a way that just sits on the feet properly. Okay? There's no possible opinion to it. It's physics. It's just a mathematical angle that gets caused when tying knots. It's just a weave of a rope. We call it a shoelace. So, anyway, 24th of August, 2026. The thing is, you know, when the foot grips inward, when the diesel trucks drive down the road, you can hear them, but the big toe comes in toward the center line of the body, and so what we need is to be able to have pressure be put against the inside of the foot, and that's where so much of this excessively grown foot bone is, and toe bone. Like, you can look at the inside of my feet. The inside of my left foot here is a pretty straight line. Like, I could lay this down on the ground, just the inside of the foot, and my big toe reaches the ground. I can even pull my big toe in a little bit, like against the ground. It's a pretty straight line here on the inside of my left foot, but there's not much patterning really at all on my left foot. But on my right foot here, it's just excessively grown bones, and you know, there's 26 bones in the feet. A fourth of the body's entire bones are in the feet. You know, 27 bones in the hands, another fourth of the body's bones. Over half of the body's bones are in just the hands and feet alone. And so, yeah, if I try to lay my right foot on the ground, I can't get pressure against the ground with my big toe. I can't pull my big toe in like I could do with my left big toe. My right big toe right now, it's not even actually putting pressure against the ground. Like, I'm trying to pull it in, and my bones are misshapen to where my big toe is going off to the outside of my body, but the foot grips inward. You know, it's because of all the things that it is. Oversized clothing on the shoulders pulls the shoulders off to the right side, and now your foot has to go off to the right side to support your body. But the foot grips inward, it needs to be right underneath us on Earth's vertical gravity pull. You know, there's 2 feet evenly opposing the center line of Earth's vertical gravity pull. So, I mean, just the sheer amount of size difference, man, around my whole toe, and then around where the toe meets into the foot here, and then through the bones of the foot, you know, from the big toe up to the ankle joint, this whole inner area of my foot, you know, and then there's tendons and muscles, you know, coming down to the ends of the 2 bones in the lower leg, the tibia and the fibula as well, where they meet to the foot bones, and then the heel of the foot here where the Achilles tendon comes down. You know, I've talked about the bone spur getting created back there. It just happens to a lot of people, and me personally. I mean, you can look at the heels of my feet and they're still different. Like I'm saying, over 2 years after doing all that I've been doing to get out of chronic patterning, there's still quite the bone spur here on my right foot. It's just not there the same on my left foot. It just is what it is, man. Truth is truth. There's only one way the human body could ever work, and you don't have to care about clothing. But as one of the things, we're literally just tying ropes on our bodies with shoelaces, for example, around the ankle and the foot, right? Drawstrings around the waist, but gravity has the same effect on our clothing that it has on our bodies, and there's just only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion to it. It grows by itself. But my point is, when we grip the ground, well, my point with making this was to show this. I was just kind of over here doing it regardless of if I was going to film it, you know, just in the grass of the park here. It is what it is, man. Like I'm saying, this is so heavy for me because I know that this is permanent. The company itself, In The Image Clothing Company, is literally a permanent, not only my lifelong, but forever. This information is valid. What we discuss under In The Image Clothing Company was just how the body grows by itself, and the only way it could ever possibly physically, mechanically operate, just the bones connecting directly to each other through ligaments and muscles pulling on those bones through tendons, connecting them to bones. Bones only mesh how they do. They'll never mesh any other way besides how they do. Bones are extremely specific in their shape and length. They grow by themselves. We put a rope around the foot and a shoelace, and we just damage the whole body. Traveling up to the tip of the head, the tips of the fingers, but even like between my toe next to my big toe and my big toe, you know, traveling down the big toe where it meets into the foot, but between this big toe's joint and the toe next to it, there's just this bulging of bone here. Unnaturally grown, excessively large bone, because that's a joint. You know, there's joints where a bone joins to a bone, joins to a bone in the feet. So the joint here at the base of the toe and the joint part of the way through the toe, they're just inflamed. And when I say inflamed, not like they have temporary inflammation, but meaning over years and years of, you know, most directly imbalanced shoe tying. It's a rope. That's it. It's a rope. You're tying one side over the other and you're twisting the entire body. So you have to tie it properly, the only way the feet work. And we discuss it in the Image Clothing Company shoelace technique. There's no possible opinion to it. It's physics. We're not selling it either. It's just free information. It's the only way the top of the feet are shaped, when you weave a rope across the top of the feet. And then tie knots around the ankles to keep the shoe on. Going evenly off the ends of the different length 5 toes, all 26 of the bones in the feet working properly, the neutral straight out the pinky toe from internal versus external rotation. There's no possible opinion to what we're doing here under In The Image Clothing Company being valid and true. You can mathematically measure it. The stuff we discussed, the anatomy of the human body, the functionality of this physical mechanical machine we call a human being that grows by itself, that only has one way it could ever possibly work. Yeah, I know it out of personal experience. The problems that come if we don't allow the body to work. That's where my passion and my harshness comes from when I speak so harsh and bold. Look at the width of my toe bone. It's so painful. I mean, you know this if you know it. If you've ever broken a bone, or if you've ever had inflammation in joints, if you've ever had, you know, things they could call arthritis, or, you know, anything similar to this at all, really, that we could discuss like that, you know how painful it can be. And if you don't, let me tell you, it's terrible. It's terrible. And so, let me show this on my left foot. As you can see where the tendon comes down through the foot, you can see if I like activate the musculature in my feet, these tendons kind of protrude and pop out of the foot and ankle joint, right? They're just activating more than just naturally stabilizing if I really activate them. But these tendons go through like grooves and areas in the bones of the feet that are just very specific in the way the bones grow. There's only the space between there for those tendons to fit. That oh my gosh, that hurt up underneath my foot. That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. Let's see if I can pop this foot. Not that that's really needed unless it's needed, but that was painful, man. Certainly. That's yeah. I mean, bones are hard, man. Bones are essentially like sticks. They don't move by themselves. They only move where they connect to other bones. And tendons and musculature are much softer tissue. And they're going through these little grooves of the bones, and you know, the grooves of the bones are only the shape and size that they are to allow the tendons to go through there, to allow the muscles to work right alongside of the bones, you know, and all the things we could discuss like this of just what's happening anatomically, right? The anatomy, the physical makeup of the body that grows by itself. It's only what it is. You'll never possibly get the human being to do anything new, anything different than just what it's always been able to do, you know, through like training the body. That's impossible. I don't have a claim on that. It's impossible. I'll be doing this the rest of my life. It's impossible to train the human being to get it to do anything different than just the only way the bones grow. They grow by themselves. But what I'm doing right here is breaking up an extremely altered little chain of bones in my right big toe. From years and years and years of what we do here under In The Image Clothing Company, well, what we get out of here is what I mean under In The Image Clothing Company, chronic patterning. Chronic patterns of working, imbalanced, misaligned. There's that diesel truck again, or maybe a different one. But what I'm doing right now is I'm gripping the ground, gripping an arch in the foot, pulling in and back. Ow! Ow! Ow, 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 ow. Oh my gosh. This pain is crazy. It's similar pain to having a broken bone, because you get just sharp edges of bone and it's just pushing into the musculature, it's pushing into the tendons. And I also have this ingrown toenail on top of that, as in physically, literally on top of the foot, on top of my toe, but also in addition to just all the misalignment going on and the excessively enlarged bone. And gosh, the pain is immense. So I just touched my toe there with my wrist and it really hurt. This is the kind of stuff I don't talk about. Not to like hide it, but just, I mean, I've been going through so much. As the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, to get where I am with this, it's been insane. What I've been doing, what I've had to go through, how difficult the process has been. But you know, the other side of this is permanent change. You break up this stuff that's been excessively grown and altered, and it's gone. You know, you stop doing the thing that caused it for so many years, and it's not going to come back. That's how it is. That's what patterning is. You know, something's causing a patterning, you stop doing the thing that's causing the patterning, and the patterning goes away. It's just how it is. It's just factual. I mean, it's a rope around the ankle, dude. It's a shoelace. There's no workouts you need to do if your body just works. There's only one way the human body could ever work. Things like workouts are conditional. Things like exercising to try to get the body to do something, it's not possible unless you change the shape and length of the bones through like a surgical procedure. Right? It's conditional. You can gain muscle for a time that'll always go away once you stop trying to gain excessive muscle mass. Anyway, the 24th of August, 2026, in the Image Clothing Company's main site here. Truth is truth. We're a permanent company, by the way. Valid to every human being to ever live. Every body who has one, and everyone who has a body is who our information applies to under In the Image Clothing Company, even if yours is different. We address this universal human design. Anyway, so my point is, as I'm gripping my foot inward, I'm using my knuckles of my hands here, just right between the two hands. That's not what I meant. Right between the two bones on the forearm, though. Right between the two middle fingers, I'm putting pressure against my foot. Gently, carefully, moderately, not too much at once and not too forcefully, but I'm making sure I keep all 5 of my toes with pressure on the ground as I'm gripping and then relaxing and gripping and relaxing the arch on my right foot here on the 24th of August, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here, right? Gal. Me, Evan Strong. Hi, I'm still here. But also, I am the founder and the leader for the rest of my entire lifetime of this beautiful company here, In the Image Clothing Company. My point is, as I'm gripping the foot in, the big toe coming in, working with the adductor muscles and just gripping on the angle of the different length 5 toes in the universal human design to grip the ground to support the rest of the entire body with the arch on the foot. Normally the feet will be doing this opposing the center line, right? You'll have a foot on the right side, foot on the left side. They both grip inward. Body gets supported. You're a human being. You can stand, walk, run, whatever you need to do if and when needed. Running if and when needed. Hear me correct. If you can't stand, if you can't walk, that's one thing. If you don't have feet, this video is probably not for you, and that's fine. But if you do have feet, maybe they've been really altered like mine have. And we just need this foot to be able to come in. Like I was showing, you know, being able to pull that big toe inward toward the body, and in a position like this, being able to put pressure against the ground with the inside of that big toe. Just because that's half the foot's function rotation-wise, internal rotation versus external rotation. And that's what I'm saying. You see so many people stick out their feet when they walk. They're walking straight forward, but their feet are pointing not the direction they're going. Their feet are pointing out. Your feet point the direction you're going. And from there, they can really rotate inward as well. There's two sides, internal versus external rotation in the lower leg bones from the foot to the knee, and the tibia and fibula, but also in the entire leg from the foot to the hip. If we straighten the leg, the whole leg just moves all as one. Just like the hand to the elbow and the forearm, or the hand to the shoulder when the elbow is straight. There's only one way the human body could ever work, but it's not going to work very well at all if you've got this different of bone size from your right big toe to your left big toe as one of the things. And I personally do. Me, Evan Strong, the one who speaks so harsh. Sounds like I'm pointing fingers at people, like you should know better. No, it's because you need to know better, otherwise your body will be in constant pain. If you're doing things that are damaging your body that you just don't even know are damaging your body. I'm the founder and the leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company. My point is, I speak out of personal experience. I've been experiencing, like, I just don't want to exaggerate, but pain that is so close to being too much to bear that it's unreal. It's ridiculous. You know, for the past couple years since founding In the Image Clothing Company, I have experienced the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life through this time. Yeah, I've had 2 open heart surgeries, and I've just had physical pain where I have throughout life. I have never had quite the same degree of pain as, you know, like what's happening in my foot here. You know, as I mentioned, a lot of what's been happening in my jaw, just getting back into alignment, breaking up this kind of excessively grown bone is the big thing. I mean, it's bone. You'll never, hear me correct, put a face to a name. You'll never, or put a face to the information that sounds like a claim, and rhyme while you do it too. You will never, let me say it 1,000,000 times if I have to, you will never help your body by trying to massage your musculature by addressing your musculature. If you've got bones like this, they're all misshapen, all muscles do is pull where they connect to bones. They just pull directly in line, then they relax. That's all muscles do. That's it. But if they're connected to a really altered bone, you have to address the bone, or else the muscle's just always going to have a problem pulling on a bone that's just not the right shape. It's not the muscle's fault. It's the bones. There's no possible opinion to that. I start screaming at people, bro, because truth is truth. The problem is we don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know, so that's not the problem. But the problem is all the false information, people out there preaching stuff that's just not really how it is. But again, you don't even know that it's not how it is if you don't know how what's really happening. We just discussed the anatomy of the human body in such depth here under In the Image Clothing Company. There's no possible dispute. I mean, it's mathematically measurable ranges of motion that happen until the bones physically hit into each other, and you'll never possibly go any farther. That always remain in the human being from birth until death. That's a big point. But then also, yeah, all muscles do is pull. You got to address where the muscles are connecting, though, because that's what they're pulling on. Muscles pull on bones. Bones always come first. The muscles just connect to bones. The bones have to always be there first for the muscles. Yikes. There you go. To have something that they can connect to. Otherwise, there's no need for muscles. If they can't connect to something to move it, the muscle just sits there. It's like a chicken breast. If you eat chicken, poultry, right? It's just a muscle on a cutting board, maybe. I'm vegetarian. I've been for over 2 years. Okay, just some context, because that sounds crazy to say, but I'm saying it to give real understanding. You know, like a steak, a cut of a steak from a cow, just meat. That's muscle. All it is muscle. It's just soft, pliable stuff. You can massage that all day for the rest of your entire life. You're never going to fix your body's pain. Never. It's impossible. It's only what it is. Muscle fibers are muscle fibers. They're connecting to bones, though, through tendons. And if the bones are altered, or if the tendon that's connecting the muscle to the bone is altered, which will almost certainly also alter the shape and size and length and stuff like that of the bone as well. Like you're seeing here in my toes. I mean, I have no claim here. Truth is truth. You got to know where to look in the body. You got to know what's happening, but you got to know why it's being caused. And a rope will cause a misalignment in the body if we twist the body with the rope uncentered, unnaturally. There's only one way the human body could ever work, okay? There's no possible opinion to it. There's no possible opinion to it, okay? That could matter, myself included. So don't believe me, but let's get to the truth together. You can mathematically measure the functioning of the human being, and the big deal is, listen to me stutter when it gets so real. You can mathematically measure the difference in the size of your bones. That's the big deal. This is not inflammation you're seeing here. This is bone. It's that much larger in my right big toe than my left big toe. It is what it is. But if we don't know what's causing this stuff, we'll never fix it. You won't. I'm speaking harsh, and I'm also giving the fixes. It's not like I could ever own the information. It's truth. It's just what it is. It's just a rope around the ankle. In the case of a shoelace, you know, for example. It's just a rotated seam in clothing in the case of robots stitching our clothing imbalanced in modern 2026 and going forth. If technology we didn't have in the past, okay? No human being in history ever had to deal with the things we do nowadays. They couldn't have possibly. The stuff wasn't invented that's damaging our bodies in modern day. A lot of the things, you know, we give a lot of deep context under In the Image Clothing Company's 5-word company name here. Specifically on our main site here, where our slogan is allowing the body to work. So anyway, the big point with why I'm rubbing my foot with my knuckles of my hand here, like I was saying, is where the bones are unnaturally shaped, and I can feel them sticking out. I can feel the sharpness to the bone. The bone, that's the thing, the bone presses into your muscle. You know, you got a really sharp, unnatural bone joining or bone joint, and it presses into your body's musculature. It presses into your body's nerve endings, the pain receptors, if you will, in the body. You know, the nervous system. Man, my toe looks like it's dying. people will probably tell me to go to the doctor. My mom's been trying to get me to go to the doctor for a couple months at least, 3 months maybe, for my toe here. But the thing is, you just address the ingrown toenail, and you're not addressing the problem of the misshapen bones. And so the toenail is just a symptom of the real root of the problem, which is the shoelace, okay? But then what that really causes before the toenail, if you've got an imbalance in a knot around the ankle or the foot weave across the top of the foot in a shoelacing or tying misalignment, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, yes. Here you are on our main side on the 24th of August, 2026. Anyway, yeah, you can address your ingrown toenail, but if you've still got misshapen toe bones, your ingrown toenail might just come back. If the toenail is just there to back and support the toe, give you know, hear me correct. Meaning this is life-changing information, so that's why I'm laughing about it. This is stuff that people don't know, and we all have to. Every body has one, bro. It's a universal human design. Toenails need to be fully to the tips of the toes, okay? To back and support the toes, to support the entire body. And your toes just backing your toe bone. I mean, your toenail is just backing your toes bones, okay? Putting support against the back of it, so there's pressure that can be put there and have like this solid backing. I mean, that's the word to use, support, okay? So the point is, if you've got a misshapen toe bone, your toenail is just going to support that misshapen bone and just press into a misshapen bone, and then you've got an ingrown toenail. It's not your toenail's fault. And it's not the fault of your misshapen toe bone, but that's what's causing the ingrown toenail. What's causing the misshapen toe bone is a rope around the foot. Who am I screaming at? Okay, a shoelace. In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. The only way the top of the feet is shaped. So as I'm doing this, though, I'm putting pressure where the tripod of arches exists in the foot. At the heel of the foot, right here at the base of the big toe where it meets into the forefoot, out here at the base of the pinky toe where it meets into the forefoot. This is where there's this tripod of arches happening. A horizontal arch in the foot and a front to back arch in the foot. Well, when I say horizontal, I mean side to side from the big toe to the pinky toe, right where they meet the forefoot. And then also from the forefoot back to the heel of the foot, there's an arch. But then also across all 5 different length toes, that's where the pressure of the foot gets put when we step on the ground. Okay, so as I'm doing this, anyway, yeah, I could do it like this. I just want to show you don't have to support your own body. Your body should support itself. The body has to work. I slam the ground. Okay, the body's got to work activated as a whole. The entire body's there. It's all got its own individualistic role to play, like I said earlier in this already. Today, on the 24th of August, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here. Anyway, so put pressure across all 5 toes. Different lengths to the 5 toes is what we have in this universal human design. Put pressure, here at the base of the big toe where it meets into the forefoot. Actually, you see, I mean, the bone there, it just sticks out on my right foot. It doesn't do that on my left foot. Not quite the same. I don't know how well you can tell without actually feeling it, but this bone sticks out here on the right side and not so much here on the left side. My right foot versus my left foot. Anyway, my point is, look at the babies into toddler age. Look at their feet work proper. Look at them roll evenly off the ends of their 5 different length toes before they get the chance to get into deep chronic patterning throughout this modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth that we live in as human beings in modern 2026 and going forth. It only is what it is. I'm probably going to be done for now and put my sock back on and my shoes, because you don't want to force it. You want to do just some at a time, but you need to be able to press inward with your big toe. And this hurts. There's just sharpness to the bone, like actual sharp edges to the bone, because it's been pulled on so much in an imbalance by the musculature because of a rope around feet and ankles we call a shoelace. I'm gonna cry. I'm serious. I'm about to, is what I mean. Anyway, I'm gonna put my shoes and socks back on. I got these Zero Shoes Ridgeway model boots right here. I'm gonna throw on. We'll show in the Image Clothing Company shoelace technique. When we show it, it's not like something that you get like only special permission to see. It's just that. Before I just cut this video out, let's put my shoes and socks on. But anyway, just there's some visuals, there's some examples of what my feet look like. Evan Strong, meaning for the sake of the date mark documentation, the date that is today, the 24th of August, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. I'm the founder. I'll be leading this for the rest of my entire life. The point is, you know, if I document videos of my feet anytime farther down the line of time, if you will, of my life from now, right, going forth, you'll be able to see that my feet don't look the way that they do today, but they look better, they work better. Just continuing to get out of chronic patterning until we get the body, hear me correct, back to an unaltered state. We're not getting the body to do anything here under In The Image Clothing Company. We're ridding patterning that's been created throughout life. Okay, allowing the body to work. In The Image Clothing Company slogan here on our main side. It's about the body. Clothing's just the literal wording of anything physically placed on the body of the human being, or anything just physically placed on anything. The way that God clothes the fields with grass. Okay? Yeah, there's only one way the human body could ever work. No possible opinion to it, so don't believe me. Let's get to the truth together. Yikes, here comes the sun. Let me just do what I can to keep this device shaded. It likes to overheat and not save my videos. I've had many, like over a handful for sure, full-length videos, 45 minutes to an hour, give or take, or even longer, just not even save. Because the device that I film them with, as of now, sometimes overheats here in the state of Utah, the United States of America's hot summers, where we're based, as in the Image Clothing Company, right? The state of Utah, the United States of America. Anyway, specifically St. George, Utah. Beautiful, sunny St. George. So, yeah, you'll be able to see In The Image Clothing Company shoelace technique here. These beautiful Zero Shoes branded Ridgeway model boots. No affiliation with them as of now, at least, or up until now. Zero Shoes. But these are great shoes, okay? They incorporate the term zero drop, just flat on the bottom. And they're also just a good company that makes quality shoes. That's just a free, if you will, shout out to them from me, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, the leader for life. Well, because, I mean, I have many times. I talked about Zero Shoes a whole bunch in the past couple years. Next month will be our 2-year anniversary, if you will, since the founding date of In The Image Clothing Company, the 23rd of September, 2024. Today's the 24th of August, 2026. Anyway, I've talked about Zero Shoes a lot. But any shoe that's just a good brand is a good brand. Any shoe design that's just good for the feet is just good for the feet. These guys are just one of the people that do it really well. I've had a lot of their shoes. Okay. Yeah, 5 pairs of theirs probably, or more. Somewhere around 5. Yeah, anyway, In The Image Clothing Company shoelace technique. The only way the top of the feet are shaped, when you tie shoes evenly, like I was saying, right, over toward the center line of the body. You tuck it from the outside over the inside and then tuck it underneath. The outside over the inside and tuck it underneath. It's just a rope. Okay? There's just 2 sides to the body. There's only one way the human body could ever work. The beautiful thing of this video is the visual. Like I'm saying, you'll be able to see, and really what I mean by that is I will be able to document my feet going forth. You know, under In The Image Clothing Company, I'll be leading this the rest of my entire life. And you can see that my feet have changed in the way that they're physically shaped at the bone structure. It's just a lot of work. But the thing is, you have to do it. You get out of chronic patterning, unless you never get in it. You know, the body just works unless or until altered. But if your body's been altered, like you've been able to see my toe in this video, this is, again, 2+ years of doing so much, personally, me, Evan Strong, to get out of patterning in my entire body. There's a lot to address. Over 200 bones, over 400 different types of muscles in the body. All the organs will literally change the way they sit in the body if the body's natural positioning at just the bones connecting, the only way they grow to connect, you know, if that's altered. And like I'm saying, and just as it is, and again, we've got almost 1,000 video documentations, many hundreds, okay, at least, as of today's date. Hear me correct, because some of them are shorter videos taken from other longer videos. I'm not trying to over-exaggerate, but many hundreds of full-length videos. Today's the 24th of August, 2026. Under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here, though, 45-minute to an hour long, sometimes they're up to 2 hours plus long videos, deep, thorough discussions of the anatomy of the human body and how it works, the actual truth of it, the mathematical, measurable truth of it, working with the vertical pull of gravity, meshing with the center line of the body, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, the jaw stabilizing the entire body with musculature up to the crown of the head, down to the upper ribs, out to the edges of the shoulders. Watch this. Going through the collars of our tops that need to stay centered and snug. We are a clothing company, In The Image Clothing Company. We give a lot of free modifications in clothing imbalances. Fairly universal clothing imbalances are shipped across the entire earth in ways that could have never happened in the past. The imbalances couldn't have been there because we didn't have robots stitching clothing like we do nowadays, but then also the transportation to get them shipped across the earth, that couldn't happen before we had things like airplanes, for example. You know, so it's a new kind of thing through the technology we have that causes this to be a worldwide or a whole earth-wide problem, okay? Just the imbalances we get into as human beings in this universal human design, in this right-handed world. 85% to 90%, give or take, of human beings across the earth are right-handed. That's an imbalance in itself. The feet evenly oppose the center line. Of the body and Earth's vertical gravity pull, okay? Physics, universal laws outside of all of us. We don't get to have a choice on it. We don't get to have some kind of workout plan or some kind of new breakthrough on how we'll get the body to do something. That's impossible. And think that I'm ignorant, think that I have some kind of bold thing that I just think I made some breakthrough on. I'll be doing this the rest of my entire life. It's measurable mathematical truth. You saw the difference in the size of bones in my toes, if you could tell. So many people are dealing with this. You see people's feet just sticking off in all sorts of different directions. I mean it. You know, you see people's, and I'm not mad. I'm screaming about it. I'm yelling about it. If I'm yelling about it, you see people's toes. They come up and then point off to the sides. When you're walking straight forward, your toes have to point forward. They do until they're altered. You see people's fingers and they're all over the place, pointing in all different directions, but they only mesh in line. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion to it. There's a neutral position to the entire human being. Anyway, truth is truth. Don't believe me. Think you know better because you went to college. You're a physical therapist or something, you know, or you're a chiropractor or something. You're a sports coach or something. You're a massage therapist or something. You think you know what you're doing. I'm not here to have one person against another, but the point is, we're all doing this kind of stuff for the sake of helping our own and everybody else's body. Hear the literal wording. Everybody else's body. Truth is truth, though. There's a universal human design. It only grows how it does. If we alter it, we alter it. We just got to unalter it. Getting out of chronic patterning, what you've been able to see me work on here. But again, it takes time. It takes years, depending on the depth of patterning you're in. And you can just tell that by looking at people's toes, looking at people's fingers, and how they're pointing on different angles, and how misaligned that is, how that's literal bone that's grown in unnatural shape. So anyway, there's a lot to this. In The Image Clothing Company, we'll always have good clothing available. Just, you know, the baseline 3 things at least is what I can say our clothing will always have the intention to do, right? It'll do, but just meaning I'm not trying to make any guarantees on exactly what things will look like or be like, but clothing needs to stay centered, fit correct, and be made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. The body's made of natural materials. It's only what we eat. There's joints of material of clothing that need to mesh with joints of body parts, like at the edge of the shoulder, for example. You know, staying centered, well, there's a centered line of the body with even opposing musculature connecting into it, and Earth's vertical gravity pull there as well. I got no possible opinion that could matter on how the body works. No human being does, but let's get to the truth of it together. This is In the Image Clothing Company. This is the 24th of August, 2026, and this is a lot of pain that you have to be willing to go through if you're really going to make a permanent change. Again, only unaltering what has been altered in your body with chronic patterning, chronic patterns of working, patterns of misalignments being built up and created in the body for years, decades, tens of years, almost an entire lifetime. It's reversible, but it's hard, it's painful, it's a big deal, a big process. But then it's permanent from there, as long as you don't do the things to get you back into the same patterning. And we just discussed it in such depth here under In the Image Clothing Company. You couldn't possibly dispute what we're saying. It's always been the exact same, and it always will be, but we just don't have the context if we don't. But we do here. I'm not claiming something. I mean, just as of now, we've got things to back it up. We've got 2 years as of next month to back up what I'm saying here. Documented, date marked, posted publicly, extremely thoroughly discussed under what I call the gift of video. As the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, I'll be here to lead this the rest of my entire life. Our team will always be beautiful, amazing, God-fearing, poodle-loving, nature-loving individuals. Don't believe us if we're saying something that you don't think is correct, but let's see if it's true. We don't get to decide or change truth as human beings. I know I've said it, but it just is what it is. What it is a body that grows by itself. Before we could ever try to figure out how to address it, we have to know what it is. The body works before we can understand how it does, is a video's title here under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. The body has all the parts to it before we could develop terminology on it, for example. I mean, it's only what it is. It's only what it is. I mean, you have a body before you could even know that you have a body, if you can see what I mean. Truly, it's only what it is. It's a mechanical machine. Fueled by food, lubricated by water. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work. Physical, mechanical operations. Measurable mathematical degrees of functioning in hinges, levers, and rotations. No workout is ever going to help you. Seen with context, but you got to see the truth of it. Check out the other 3 sides of In the Image Clothing Company if you'd like to. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, In the Image Clothing Company Podcast with discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 216 as of today's date, the 24th of August, 2026. You don't have to be religious, but you can probably tell that by now if you've watched this video. The things are just what they are, even if you don't want to believe them. In the Image Clothing Company Music, another one of our 4ths. Rhythm and poetry, lyricism, spoken word, singing, guitar playing, music geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ with the messages. We just do what we do, bro. Don't get turned off by our company name if you don't think you're religious or something. Don't get turned off by my harshness of speech and just maybe only listen to other people at In the Image Clothing Company's team instead of me, the founder, the leader of it. I'm not trying to yell at people. I'm just going to speak as harsh as I speak on the stuff that I really know is that important to be that bold about. It's boldness. It's not anger, right? So I mean, maybe sometimes I'm just like steaming mad. I get it, but it just is what it is. You got to get the point across, bro. So much false information out there. People have their workout plans, their diet plans, all their breakthroughs, their new products that just it's a gimmick. It's a scam. What we have is deep, thorough discussions, years of it, as of today's date so far, and the rest of my life doing this, deepening the understandings, deepening the explanations, and our team as well will just be extremely well informed. And we're going to always just only have people under In the Image Clothing Company's team that are really driven and ready to do what it takes to do what's needed, Geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ, specifically the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Here you are, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. I don't know what this video will be titled exactly because it's a very off-the-cuff kind of video. I didn't expect to film this, like I was saying. I just came over to the park here and decided to start filming, and now it's turned into a full, good, thorough explanation video with some beautiful visuals of what's happening. Personal experience, personal example of bone spurs, enlarged, misshapen, you know, bones in my body, you know. Yeah, I'm not messing around with this, bro. It's my lifelong career, so don't get it twisted, if you will, meaning don't get it confused thinking we're just a clothing company. We're only a clothing company and have been since the founding, for the sake of what our slogan is here under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, allowing the body to work. Okay? So, things with the dogs, man, in-person events, things for the environment. We'll always have good products available. Anything we'd ever put out is just stuff that's needed if you were to choose to purchase it. But just so much free information too, like this. So much explanation on what's happening in modern day, with everything so different than it ever could have been before the technology, before the inventions, before, you know, society changed and just our lives changed, before we got so disconnected from the earth that we're literally made of. We eat it and it becomes the body. There's so much going on here. And there's a lot of pain, physical pain, that a lot of people are experiencing. And it's something you can't really escape, which is hard, because sometimes there's pain that we can't fully rid throughout our lives at all, you know. We've got our own individualistic situations, but there's so much we can do, you know, and a lot of times we don't know what it is. That's what we know under In the Image Clothing Company. I mean, deformities, birth defects, major surgeries, amputations, healing from injuries. These are the kind of things that we're really addressing within this universal human design, these alterations and these changes from it. That's why we're a clothing company. Clothing just has to fit on the body properly, and we discuss very clearly where clothing sits on the body, with gravity having the same effect on our clothing that it has on our bodies. Everything we do in life, waking and sleeping life, we're doing it in and through the literal word of clothing. So thank you. All right, thank you. Be prepared for it to take time, though. Just things that matter